Yo, Bracy Skills Clinic's back with another video. Once again, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Another episode of Spurs Talk. Hopefully everybody's been checking out the videos. The last video was me getting off some stuff off my chest when it came to the Victor Wembanyama and Bobo comparison. So that was the last video. Make sure you guys check that out. We just dropped that this morning. And now, today, I'm getting a lot of notifications about Keldon Johnson. I don't know what the question was to Keldon, but it was basically, I'm paraphrasing, basically him saying that, he's open to possibly coming off the bench. At least that's how it was put. Like I said, I don't know what the original question was, but it was basically like, he's willing to sacrifice whatever and do what it takes to win. And so, what I want to talk about is, will he come off the bench? And is it a good idea? And what does that mean for the future of the Spurs, and then in particular, Keldon Johnson? So, Keldon signed a big contract last year. Pretty manageable contract. He's definitely going to get a bigger bag eventually, as long as he keeps producing. Do we expect him to average 20 points per game again? Probably not. But I do expect him to be well within the 16 to 18 points per game. Keldon's a bucket. He's improved his game a lot. I know his field goal percentage took a little bit of a dip because he went through a slump towards the beginning of the year. But I do think Keldon is a go-getter that plays hard, has a high motor, brings a lot of energy. So I do expect him to continue to score around that range. And do I think he's going to come off the bench? I think it's a highly possibility. And I don't think that has nothing to do with Wembanyama. I think it has everything to do with Juju. I think what we've seen from him over the summer and the way the Spurs are committing to him for the next 4 years tells me that, they see something in him. And I do as well. Now, do I think he's better than Keldon so far? I mean, it remains to be seen. But, right now he is a cheaper player. They do play the same position. And, I do think the more he develops, he's going to make a few of these guys, he's going to put some pressure on these guys to perform. And I think Keldon is going to be one of those guys he's going to put pressure on. But do I think Keldon's going to come off the bench? Tough to say, man. I mean, I know he wasn't good last year and we didn't win a lot of games, but 20 point per game score coming off the bench the following year when he's still relatively young in his career, I would like to see that, man. I do think him coming off the bench does give us a little bit of flexibility offensively and defensively. I've seen a couple ideas. Shout out Spurs Culture, man. Spurs Culture on Twitter. Shout out Spurs Culture. I seen him post a very interesting starting five that I would like to see, to be honest. And I never looked at it like this, but I think he had Jeremy Sohan at the 1, Devin Vassell at the 2, Juju at the 3, Wembanyama at the 4, and Zach Collins at the 5. Pretty well-balanced offense. You got shooters surrounding Sohan, scorers, playmakers. Devin Vassell and Wembanyama are going to be able to really create their own shot as scorers. I think that's a good lineup. And then, of course, you got Keldon coming off as 6-man along with Trey Jones. Now, will Pop do that? I'm going to say probably not, but you never know. I don't think Pop knows who's going to start, to be honest with you. I think a lot of that is going to be answered during training camp and throughout preseason, and it may change a few times. But I do know that he's expressed that Wemby won't be playing the 5. We got Zach Collins and Charles Bassey and even hopefully Dominic Barlow, who had a phenomenal summer league. So I don't think we'll see Wemby at the 5. But I do think, late game situations, you're going to have Keldon on the floor. And your best lineup, if you're talking like clutch time, is probably going to be Wemby at the 5 as far as just talent. And so, just sticking to the question, man, I mean, it's going to be tough, man, if Keldon comes off the bench. I mean, he's going to say the right things in the media. I mean, obviously, Keldon's not going to come out and say, oh, no, I'm not coming off the bench. He's not going to say that. So I wouldn't get too carried away into what he actually said. This is the media we're talking about. Um, I'm a little concerned though if he does come off the bench, because in my opinion, if Keldon comes off the bench, I think he's going to be the guy that may not be a part of this full rebuild. They may try to trade and get something for him. It may not be in the foreseeable future, but I just don't know how Keldon takes that when he's literally improved every year of his career, still only 23 years old, and then now he's been asked to come off the bench. I know people can, try to talk about how Ginobili embraced the role, but Ginobili didn't do that. Ginobili had to do it. Ginobili didn't come in as a starter, right? I mean, he had to work his way in, and Keldon had to work his way in as well. But they just came in on two different terms. I mean, Ginobili came into a team that was already put together. His rookie year, they won a championship. So obviously, he's going to sacrifice whatever it takes for a team to win because the Spurs were actually a title contender. Keldon has been through this thing fully. Like, he came in, we were, first round playoff team. He was a part of that Kawhi deal, and then you're battling as a playing team for a couple of years with DeJounte, and then now you basically start all over, and then you see Wemby come in. So Keldon, even though he's only 23, he's seen the different stages. So I think it's a little harder to just say he's going to do everything Manu did and just accept the role. Okay, we got to keep in mind, Manu came in on a championship-level team. So, yeah, you're going to accept any role you get because you're trying to get on the floor and you're trying to keep a spot on this championship level team. That's how Ginobili came in. Keldon didn't come in on those terms. Spurs are not title contenders right now. So I think behind closed doors it's going to be a lot tougher for Keldon to digest coming off the bench. That's just me being honest, on the outside looking in. And he is represented by Clutch Sports for whatever that's worth. We haven't had a good history with Clutch Sports as with the Spurs organization. But I would like to see that, man. Like I said, I do like the well-balanced lineup of Keldon coming off the bench, but I just want to see how he takes that personally, with it still being very young in his career. And then you look at his contract, right? Like, by the time Keldon gets to the end of that contract, with the way these contracts are going, he's going to want a bigger bag. So maybe this is something where the Spurs, if they decided to bring him off the bench, maybe it brings down his value a little bit. Maybe it slows down his stats a little bit to where we're not forced to pay him a whole lot of money. Maybe I'm just throwing ideas out there. I just have a hard time thinking Keldon's going to fully accept that role, to be honest with you. No matter what he says in the media, I just have a hard time thinking he's going to accept that, man. This is the guy that's been here the longest. I think Keldon's been here the longest out of anybody. Let me think about that. Keldon, who else came in with Keldon? Yeah, Luka's not here. The other Luka, of course. Luka's not here no more. I think Keldon has been here the longest out of any Spurs player on our current roster. So I don't know about that one. Like I said, I want to see what was asked to Keldon. If anybody got the question or maybe the link of the interview, if there is a link, or just anybody that knows, what was asked of Keldon, I'm going to try to look up and see if I can find it. But I think knowing what Keldon was asked, I think is a big part. But just keep in mind, man, I wouldn't get too excited over the quotes because he's not going to come out and say, nah, I'm not coming off the bench. I'm starting. He's not in a position to say that right now. You know what I'm saying? Well, he's not in a position to say that right now. So he's going to say all the right things. Excuse me. He's going to say all the right things. So I just wouldn't get caught up into what he actually says. But I just think he's going to have a hard time swallowing that pill as far as being asked to come off the bench. 20-point per game scorer, 23 years old. You just got paid last year. You've been here the longest out of any Spurs player. That's a big, big thing to deal with in my eyes. If he's able to accept it and he braces it and he takes it well, man, kudos to Keldon. I just want to see it. I just have a hard time thinking that Pop is going to actually start Juju over Keldon, even though we all would have probably agreed that that's a better fit from a floor spacing standpoint. I just would like to see if they're actually going to do that. Keldon makes too much money to be asked to come off the bench for a guy making $12 million over 4 years. This is still a business, you guys. So I mean, that's why I'm like, I don't know if Keldon's gonna accept that. So yeah, man, tell me what you guys think. I do agree that it could be a good fit on the court, but just um, the personality playing into play, and then understanding that, like I said, Keldon's been here the longest and just got paid last year. I just have a hard time thinking that he's gonna really, truly accept that. But hey, remains to be seen. Training camp is gonna be here before you know it. We're almost in August, man. The NBA is gonna be back before you know it. It's coming quickly. So we will see what happens in training camp and during preseason. So yeah, let's hear what you guys think about that. Let's leave some comments, man. Let's get a discussion going. Do you guys think Keldon will come off the bench this year? And if so, do you really think Keldon is going to accept that role, or is this a situation where Keldon could eventually, may not be this year, but eventually be the odd man out, whether they trade him or whoever, whatever, somebody else signs him when his contract is up. I want to hear what you guys think. Me, I don't think Keldon's coming off the bench, but let's see. I want to see what you guys got to say. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. We out.